Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the Menko Intruder 2 go-kart build. In this episode, you're going to see how we got this engine, the 420cc Predator, mocked up on this go-kart with our new rear back half. I know in our last episode we said that we were going to build our own back half, but we actually found one online, one more left in the United States, and we ordered it and we got it shipped to our door within a week. Enjoy, and remember to please like and subscribe. We got our new back half from Sears on the floor, and we're going ahead and we are putting our factory axle in this back half, and we are checking for fitment right now. And it all seems to be fitting together perfectly. Got the sprocket right there. We're going to go ahead and slide the sprocket in. And we're going to go ahead and line it up with the axle where it needs to be. After we put the sprocket on for the chain, we went ahead and we slid the rotor on the axle for the brakes, and then we also put on brand new bearings on the left and the right hand side. As you saw in our previous video, we got these bearings from Go Power Sports, and they fit on our new back half for this go-kart absolutely perfectly. At this time, we're just going to use a cable style brake caliper on here. Eventually we'll go to hydraulic. I found on Go Power Sports the same exact caliper that was on this Menko originally. We had to do some slight modifications to it, but we made it work. Now that everything's on the axle, the bearings and all that good stuff, it's time to mock it up on the kart, and everything lines up perfectly. It's exactly where it needs to be. Now the moment that we have all been waiting for, we finally get to set this thing down on its own weight. We are super excited about this because this has been a long time coming.
Ta-da! Ta-da!
After we drop the engine in to mock it up on our new back half, we notice that the engine sits a little bit too low. So what we need to do is we need to take our new engine plate and we need to raise it up about 6 inches. If you look at the go-kart right now, the way it sits on the ground, you can see those bash bars that are hanging down underneath. So what we did was, on our old back half, we cut the bash bars off and we're going to weld them to the engine plate, and in turn it should lift the engine up where we need it to be. With these welded up to the engine plate, this should give us enough clearance to clear the new torque converter. Now with our engine plate tacked on to our engine risers, I guess you can call them, we're going ahead and we're doing some trimming right now so it can be level. As you can see, Mo is using his OSHA approved trimming methods. We're not going to use pliers, he's going to go ahead and use his boot. And here it is with the engine on there. It's all tacked up and trimmed. It's ready to go on our new back half and check for fitment. The more we looked at the engine and that bar that's on the back there, we realized that we're going to have fitment issues because the 420 is really big. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do away with this back portion of the go-kart just to give us some extra clearance. After I cut the left and the right hand side, just needs a little bit of pressure on there and off that bar comes, and there's going to be a lot more room on there now for that engine to fit. Now our go-kart has a custom look with the rear tubing removed from it. Should work out just fine. Now it's time to put that 420 on our go-kart with our new engine plate. We're going to go ahead and slide it on there and line the tubing up with the front and the rear on the new rear back half. We're going to go ahead and we're going to check for fitment on the torque converter and our sprocket. And this is what it looks like on there on our new rear back half. We're going to go ahead and line that engine and the torque converter up with the sprocket on the axle. Make sure that everything's perfectly lined up for the chain. And our height on our engine seems absolutely perfectly. It clears the sprocket and it clears our new back half. So it should all work out great. Now with this sitting on there, before we tack it up, we figured it would be a good idea to see how the chain is going to look like on there. It'd be a shame if we tacked everything up and welded it all in place and figured out the chain wasn't lined up. So we're going to go ahead and set the chain up right now. And we are extremely happy because the chain lines up absolutely perfectly with the lower sprocket. If we need more adjustment out of it, we can go ahead and adjust the sprocket. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to tack this new engine plate in. Now that the chain is lined up, we're ready to weld this bad boy in place. Then we're going to do some cleanup work after this, and then we should be ready for our first startup of the engine. We removed the engine for welding purposes. Now we can go ahead and put the engine back on.
Oh, nice. We got a bolt in. All right, what's going on, bud?
This is the first fire with the 420 on the Manco.
So everybody gonna see that mount break off?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, cool.
Fuel on. Let the bowl fill up for a minute. Go choke.
Oh boy. Watch your leg.
Where's the ignition switch just in case it gets crazy?
It's on the passenger.
Alright, someone needs to hold the ignition switch if it gets crazy.
Pat, if you want to hold.
Wait a minute, wait. Let it run for a second. We're going to let it go, see what it does. Ready? Yeah. It's cold. It's cold. It turns out that the reason why the engine is smoking so much is that we accidentally left a piece of paper towel in the air intake that we kept in there from keeping pieces from falling in. I guess somebody forgot to take that out.
Probably just the dry freeze.
We notice that something's wrong when it starts totally smoking out our garage and the choke is off.
Something ain't right.
Well, the camera was knocked over unfortunately, but you can still hear Mo's reaction when he looks down in that air intake and still sees the paper towel in there, causing our engine to run extremely rich.
Dude, it is!
And then you can see me walking off in frustration after I find that out. Now with our air restriction removed, we can go ahead and fire this thing up and actually see how it runs.
It was just running red. That's it. You see the ignition on? That's off. Let it warm up for a minute. Let it clear out. Let it clear out. Gas is on. Let's just let it clear. Jesus, kill the gas for a second. Let it clear out that way, and then open it back up. Let it run for about 5 minutes.
Now that we got this Predator 420 engine running on our Manco Intruder 2 go-kart, please stay tuned for part 3, and you'll see how we brace this engine up and the new engine plate and get it ready to ride. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, please like and subscribe.